Hey there, how you doing? Michelle with Treecat here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're catching this. I hope you're doing great. Happy first week of December. The holiday season has officially begun, right? And I know a lot of you are super busy, you know, it's a busy time of year, right? Professionally, personally, there's a lot going on. But thanks for joining me today. We do have some really big announcements to make, and I have some questions to answer. And there's just a lot that I want to get to in the next 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and just start right now. First big announcement is we have Poshmark sharing back. We had taken it down for a while to sort of rejigger, and we have put it back up. And if you don't know how to get to Poshmark sharing, allow me to show you. You go to settings. If you want to set up your Poshmark sharing, you go to settings, and then you go to Poshmark closet sharing, and then you're going to add whatever you want to do. We have two campaigns. We have a quick schedule all day follower share. So I'm adding that, and I'm clicking the play button to make it active to schedule it. And then I'm going to click the quick schedule nightly party share, and I'm going to activate that. So now those are activated in perpetuity, and you don't have to do anything. I don't know if you all noticed when your Poshmark sharing was down, but this is my personal one-of-one experience. My Poshmark sales and also likes really tanked. The way that I make most of my Poshmark sales is I get likes and then I make offers to those likers at 10%. And that's how I get most of my sales. Hardly any of my sales on Poshmark come just without making an offer. So I noticed that when I had my Poshmark sharing down for a couple of weeks, and I noticed that I didn't have hardly any likes at all, maybe one like per day. And so I do think that if, people are telling you that Poshmark sharing doesn't matter anymore, I don't think that's accurate, because I noticed just from my own experience that my likes tripled and quadrupled now that I started having Poshmark sharing turned back on. So something to think about. It's where our sharing is done through our agent. Our agent lives on your computer. It's not using shared IPs. And so, it's seen from those network administrators at Poshmark as you doing it yourself on your computer. So I think it's one of the safest ways to automate your Poshmark sharing. And I'm happy to say that we have it back online. So yay, let's get your Poshmark sharing campaigns back up and running. Okay, another announcement. We are not doing tech support via social media. So if you contact me or contact Treecat, any of Treecat's social medias with a tech support question, I'm going to direct you to our little question mark. I'm going to say, if you are a Treecat user, then you will know that we have this little question mark here right in the upper right-hand corner. Mr. Treecat, if you can show that, there we go. Okay, so this little question mark, if you click on that, it will lead you to open up a trouble ticket. And that's how we do our tech support, okay? No tech support through social media, because frankly, I have someone that helps me with my social media, and they do not know how to do tech support, okay? So if you want, there's an off chance that I could be on social media randomly, because I do like to check it myself every once in a while, and I do like to engage myself. But for the most part, I have someone that helps me with that, because I'm just too busy to spend a lot of time doing that. So I happened to catch someone who had a legitimate tech support question, and I was just thinking to myself, why are they not contacting me in app? So maybe they don't know about it. So now we have tech support in app. And that's the way to contact us if you have any tech support problems. It's going to be quicker way to get your support needs met than social media, which I may or may not be checking. Okay, let's move on. I have a couple customer questions that I want to get to. Let's see. So one customer had asked, will you ever add custom SKU ability to cross-list that fields? Because right now we have custom SKU ability on to add custom SKU to any item that is an eBay item. And we are going to be working on adding that field so that when you're cross-listing, that will be populated, okay? Or you can have the ability to put it in yourself. In the meantime, what you can do is, I don't know if you're aware, but we have every single item that gets sold. You can go to your sales page and you can click, let me make this smaller. Okay. So you can go to I'm not in Treecat. There we go. You can go to your sales page And any item that gets sold on the right-hand corner here, and Mr. Treecat, there we go. On the right-hand corner here is a little square with an arrow. If you click that, it will download or let you download this manifest. And this is a packing slip that we provide to our users. And on the bottom of the packing slip, it has the SKU, where it's located. And what I do, I had to redact, of course, the people's address because we don't want to dox anybody. What I do is I cut off the bottom part, and I use this as my ticket to pull items, or an assistant can pull items and find the item for them, right? Get the item ready and for shipping. And then what I do is I put this in I staple my card to it that says, "Thank you for supporting small business." And I just put this inside, this packing slip inside, because although eBay has and Poshmark have, well, Poshmark doesn't really have a packing slip, but eBay does. But Poshmark and Mercari don't. So we did this because, one, so that you could have a packing slip, like a legitimate packing slip for Poshmark and Mercari, and two, so that you could have a place to print out your custom SKU when you're going to find your items. So it's just a little receipt that I keep all my receipts, and I know that this one was shipped and I marked shipped, and it's just a second, I know a lot of people don't like to use paper or whatever, but it's just I have so many items that are almost identical, like black bras. I could be shipping out 5 black bras in one day. So I really have to do this personally just to keep myself organized. So anyways, in the meantime, until we can get that feature working, because we have some changes that we've been doing, and until we can get that feature into production, I would recommend printing out your packing slip, and at the bottom, you can see where the item is located, the SKU item, and you'll be able to find it that way instead of going back into Treecat and going into the item and then going to the bottom and seeing the SKU there. Okay, second question. Event messages are confusing me. Should I be concerned if I see an events message like, quote, get cookie? So events messages are really there for troubleshooting purposes. And the events, as you can see, are on the lower right-hand corner, okay? So every item has its own events, or this is just an events log. Mr. Treecat, can you show my screen right now? So I'm showing the events so people can see the events log. There we go. Okay, so this is just a general events log of like everything that's happening. Now, you can go into your inventory and you can see an events log for each individual item. So for example, let's see, this item has its own events log. Every item has its own events log, and they're not put there to scare you in any way. And if the events are green, that means that whatever happened, whatever action happened was a success. If it's yellow, that means it's in process. And if it's red, it means it did not work. So this particular item, it gave me some error messages that it was not able to list on Mercari and Poshmark. The reason is because I'm testing something new, and it was not anything that you guys are using, something that I'm testing, and that was preventing it from working. So that gave me a good idea. Okay, this was a failure. Now, if you were to go to a different item, if I were to go to a different item, for example, this has events on it that shows that it was a success. So as you can see in the right-hand corner, the action was initially a yellow action, meaning it was pending, and then it became a green event, meaning that it was successful. So if there's ever a time that you see a green event, that means it's successful. You do not need to worry. The information that it puts there is really just for us in terms of our troubleshooting, so we can figure out what's going on if there's an issue. So ignore them, ignore them when they're yellow. Move on when they're yellow because they were a success. If they're red, take a snapshot, a snip or what have you, open up a ticket and send it to us and we'll troubleshoot it. Okay, so we just done that to make it easier for you. We don't want to try to confuse you in any way. So I just want to make sure that people understand that's how the events logs work. Okay, what else? What other customer questions? Do I need to cross list the old way now that you have AI listing? Which I'm going to get to in a minute. Does it do all marketplaces at once? Yes, it will do all of the marketplaces at once. So that's kind of like you're cross-listing at the same time as you're listing. And I'll give a demo about this in a second. And it doesn't, you can still cross-list the old way, right? The old way of cross-listing is you have an item that maybe you listed right on eBay or with a third party or whatever. We don't care how you got it, listed. We sync it into and to Treecat, and then you can cross list it from that point using our AI autofill. But sometimes you can still do that. So if you like doing your listings a different way, no problem. Pull them in to Treecat. We'll manage your inventory for you. We'll let you cross list it. We'll let you do automations. We see ourselves as an inventory management, data migration, automation, cross listing company. At our core, and this new AI listing is just our 12th feature that we add as a value add to our users, because we want to keep delivering value. We want to keep delighting our customer. So do you ever need to use the old way? Yes, we will keep the old way of cross listing on there, because we know that not everyone, everyone does. Maybe they have different ways they want to cross list, and that's okay, right? List, AI list. Maybe they have different ways they want to list, and that's okay. You can use our AI lister if you want, and there is no extra charge for it. But there will be reasons why you would want to use the old way. So for example, this item right here, it was canceled. An eBay person that bought it said, hey, I want to cancel this. And I gladly canceled it for her. She said she used the wrong credit card, whatever. So eBay then relisted it for me, and it got synced into Treecat. So do I want to now use the old way of cross-listing? Absolutely. So I would do that by going to autofill, and I would say I want to autofill from eBay to Mercari, Poshmark, and whatnot. And I click the autofill button. Okay. And then it will just start populating, and I'll go back and check everything. And then I can list that, right? I can list it onto those platforms. Let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to answer? Okay. I think that's it for customer questions, unless there's anything in the chat. There is one person asking how much it costs for our AI lister, I guess is what they're asking. And it does not cost anything additional to use this new AI listing tool. You guys may know that Treecat has a pay-as-you-sell model, and we have a number of billable actions. So initially, cross-listing and sales detection and delisting, that was the initial billable action. And then once you did that action, all the other billable actions like delist, relist, white background remover, Poshmark sharing, those were all free to you. So one action unlocks all of the actions. Well, now we're introducing this AI listing feature, and that will, for a lot of people, become their first way of using a billable action on Treecat. So then all the other things will become free for them to use. So if you, for example, were using the AI listing feature to get your items into Treecat and then to cross list them, that's considered a billable action. And then because you've done that, that unlocks delist, relist, unlimited and bulk delist, relist. That unlocks Poshmark sharing. That unlocks our photo editing tools such as white background remover. That unlocks the ability to do updates. And I think those are our main billable actions. So just to reiterate, one feature unlocks them all, and then you don't pay until you sell. We have a tiered system for that. And let's see if that's up. We had change. Yes. Okay. So we do have that now on our landing page. And yeah, so it starts at 50 cents per sold item, and that's for 30 sales per month, right? So this is kind of what you would pay. And then you want to use a promo code, and we have various people with promo codes, various affiliates that you can use. And then as you scale, so you get to 100 billings, it's like 35 cents. And then 140, it's like 25 cents. And then if you get to like over 140 sales per month, it becomes a penny per billable action. So our billing hasn't changed with this new feature that we are adding. And it's just another value add. We still have that philosophy. I know people, think it's a little old school, but we want to delight the customer. We want to keep adding value, right? Value add. Remember in the 90s, that was the big thing, value add and delighting the customer. Well, we still hold those philosophies, right? So yes, this is our 12th feature that we have added to Treecat in the last year and a half, I guess, that we've been doing this. And our year and, gosh, no, it's not a year and a half yet, is it? Almost. So, that's just our philosophy. We want to keep adding value, right? And we want to keep delighting our customer. And even though this AI listing is brand new, it's still in beta, it's not perfect. We thought, this is a busy time of year and people could really use this. This could really help people right now. The ability to, and I'll just get into it. Let's just get right into it. The ability to, what it gives you is the ability to add a picture, and then it generates the title, the descriptions, and what do you call it? All the categories and subcategories and subcategories and subcategories and all those things that need to be, especially with eBay. eBay has a ton of them, right? So let me just, so even though this is brand new and it's in beta, there's still a lot of features that we're going to add to it. We are going to have the ability to do it in bulk. We are going to have the ability to have the white background removed automatically as you upload the photos, but those aren't quite ready yet. So what I'm going to demo today, and I sell bras mostly. So what I did, because since I wanted to try it on all the different categories out there, I just went to eBay and I looked at some of my favorite sellers that I think do a really good job. And I snipped some of their photos to see what would happen if I did a listing on one of theirs. So anyways, if you want to try this, and this is in beta, so if you're going to try it out, we want your feedback. We really, really do, because I'm not an everything seller. And so I may not understand completely what it takes to make a great, vintage doll listing. I might not understand what it takes to make a great parts, like automotive parts or, electronics listing, but you do. So, or books listing, right? It's been many years since I've done books. And frankly, when I was doing books, I was just scanning and putting them on Amazon and doing FBA. So, I didn't have to really look too much at what was not happening or what was happening with the listing. It was just kind of automated. So, we're testing many different categories. So let's just get into this. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to main actions. Okay. And you want to click AI image listing beta. Okay. And you can select all of the marketplaces that you want to have it, listed to. But it will not list it until you tell it to list, right? So I don't know. Sometimes I don't know whether or not I'm going to list it onto Poshmark on some of these categories, because it's not until I actually have the listing generated that I realize that's probably not a good item to sell on Poshmark. Like, I don't think I would go and sell a bunch of auto parts on Poshmark because they just don't have those categories. But, to each their own. If you feel like that's something you want to do, you can. But it's hard to know which categories to put it in. It's like other sometimes. Or, so anyway, so let's just go ahead and upload an image. And there's, like I said, these are not my listings. These are other people's listings that I just went and did a snip of to see what would happen. This is just like some mugs that I saw, some cute little mugs that were like a specific name brand. And then I say, so it's going to upload all the photos. And I know on the newsletter, I said, only upload 5 images. I think if you're doing them one by one, you can do more than that. If you're going to do our bulk, our bulk upload, that might be a different story. We're still testing that out. And I've had luck with doing all of the items being 5 photos each. And like with this, you don't really have to have there's no pre-configuration, there's no templates or anything, right? You're just uploading the pictures and you're saying generate draft. And you can see the little, there's like a little thing that's telling you that it's working. And it tells me that the action is initiated. Now, just because the action is initiated doesn't mean it's done. But what you're going to have to do at this point is you're going to have to do a reload. And you will see, no, it's still working on the listing. And what you can do is you can actually, there we go. So it did the listing, and I go into the listing and I see that it did do the title and the description and the price. It's giving me a price, and I think that's a good price, especially if you're going to put it on Poshmark and you're going to expect to make $10 offers or 10% off offers. This one did not get the category. So that's one we're going to have to work on, right? We'll have to work on the selecting, because sometimes it just doesn't give enough information to know, let's say this is a collectible, and let's say it's figurines and supplies. I don't know, collectible figurines, or it's pottery, really. So if it doesn't get the category, then we want to know that. So what I would do on this one is I would take a snip of it, and then I would, and sometimes, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes it's not quite done. And this happened to me the first time that I tested it. I noticed that it didn't get the categories. And then I came back like a few minutes later and I realized that it had chosen the categories. So I'm going to let it continue to do its thing. And I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm going to start another one. Because if you go into the listing too soon and it's not actually done, you will think that it didn't select the category for you. So let's do another one, and then we'll come back in a few seconds while the other one's processing, because we have multi-threaded ability to do multiple things. We have sequential queuing and stuff like that. So I can start another one. So I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to select all of my marketplaces, and I'm going to get the image. So let's do this belt. Do we want to do a belt buckle? Do we want to do this this football thing? It's like a football vest. All right, let's do this football vest and see, not vest, like padding thing, and see what it thinks about this football vest. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to refresh this guy and see if it got the, yes. So you just have to be patient right now. We're working on putting like a indicator as to when it's done. All right, so don't get freaked out if when the first time you go into it, it doesn't have the category selected. So this does now have the categories, the color, the type, the brand, the material. It doesn't have a product line because I don't think the pictures suggested a product line. Okay, so you're going to have to go through this, right? And you're going to have to make sure that, look at this, it got the features, it got the occasion. That's pretty cool. It didn't get the time period. It got that it was vintage and that it was an original licensed production. It got the capacity. I don't know how it does this, honestly, because the pictures didn't have any kind of reference. Like sometimes people will put in a penny as a reference or like a ruler. I don't know how it got all this information, but it got quite a bit of information. And if you know some of that other information, you can put that in, like you can put that it wasn't handmade. I'm sure these weren't and then save those changes. It wasn't signed. Care instructions, I would say, I don't know. I'm just going to guess and say hand wash just to be on the safe side. And it got like the item height. I don't know how it did that. It got the item diameter. I don't know how it did that. Now the condition is probably used, I'm guessing, because I don't see any price tags. And then it's got my personal eBay shipping. This is my eBay. Like I have the eBay. I do the policies, so it just puts in my standard policies, and then I might tweak that, and then I would put in my custom SKU, and then I would save those changes, and then you can do a list, right? And then that'll push it to eBay, Mercari. Well, you want to check obviously what it did for Mercari. So it did the same price. It did all the categories. It did the weight and the package and how it's going to ship, buyer pays for shipping. And then you might just want to change the condition. So if you don't have a lot of information I don't know if these are new or not new. I'm guessing they're not new. I'm guessing they're vintage. So anyways, that's what it got from Mercari. Now let's see what it got for Poshmark. Poshmark did not put in the original price. You can do that yourself if you know what the price is. Let's just take a guess and say $50. I'm just guessing here. It did get the description. It got the categories. the size, the colors, the brand. It got that it was not new with tags. It did not add any style tags. We're not at this point doing style tags. That's going to be coming in another version, but it got a lot of good information. So I think I would list it on just seeing how it got all these categories. I probably would go ahead and list that on Mercari and Poshmark. And then the last one is this is Whatnot. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to Whatnot. And it did get, condition. It got all the information on Whatnot. So I'd probably list that on Whatnot too. I'm not going to actually list this right now because this isn't my listing. I just wanted to see what would happen with this category. But that just gives you an idea of what it does. Now let's see what it did with the sports equipment. It's probably given it enough time at this point. So let's go to eBay. Oops. So it does have it did put in the title. It put in quite a extensive description, a price. It got the categories: sporting goods, team sports, football, other football. It got the brand. It even got an MPN. I wonder how it did that. Maybe from this picture right here. I don't know. That's crazy. Or maybe from one of the pictures. Or I don't know. Maybe it's looking at other listings that have been put on eBay or before. I don't know. Got the color. I got the sport. Did not get the region of manufacturer. It got that it's adjustable. So it even got the unit quantity. That's pretty cool. And it got the condition is new. So you might have to change your shipping for this because maybe you have multiple shipping, types that you do on eBay. So just check that your shipping, is what you want it to be, and check that you got your policies that you want, and then put in your SKU, and then you can save those changes. And then let's go on to see what it did. Do I even want to list this on Mercari? I'd probably list it on Mercari. It looks like it has the categories for it, and it chose standard shipping, and I'd probably have to change the weight on this. And it's doing USPS ground, buyer pays, and the conditions due. So I would probably go ahead and list that on Mercari. And then on Poshmark, I actually don't know what the original price is for this. Let's say 200, but you can do your own due diligence. And so it's got the description, it's got the title, it's got the description. Now it may not have categories for this because it put it in different categories. That tells me that this is maybe not something that I should list on Poshmark. So, but if you are saying that this is something that you would want to list on Poshmark, let us know. And if this is something that, you say, hey, I actually do see a lot of these on Poshmark. These people do list these on Poshmark, and you need to, try to tweak, your system to make it work. Let us know, and we'll look into that. But I think what this is telling me is that this might not be a good item for Poshmark. So I would not list that on Poshmark. Now, would I list it on Whatnot? It is categorizing it as other sporting goods. It's giving me, the price, the product name, and the description. So maybe that's something that I would list on Whatnot. All right, let's keep going. Let's do some more. We have a few more minutes. Do we have any other questions? No other questions so far. I'll just keep trying with different items. Oops, I got to add the photos first. So let's go to add, and we're gonna just see how it does for another item. Let's see here. What do I want to list? Do I want to do a book? Do I want to do art? Do I want to do some shoes? Let's try some shoes. We got some green Nike cleats here, and we're going to see what it does with the green Nike cleats. All right. So we're doing the green Nike cleats, and we're going to generate that draft. While that's generating, I'm going to do another one, right? Because you can do multiple things at once, right? You can have multiple processes running at once, and we have smart queuing to make that, more organized internally for, oops. Okay, so let's do another one while that's working. Let's do a plush. All right, so I'm gonna do this plush right here, and we're gonna see if it will work for all of those platforms. Okay, so while that's working, I'm going to go back to the other one, and let's do a reload. You always want to do a reload to see that. Okay, so here's the green Nikes. Let's see if it's done. Did it get the categories? Okay, so this has got the categories, so it's ready. It's got the product name, it's got the description, it's got the price, category, sporting goods, team sports, football, other football, Nike. It got the MPN information, the sports, the color. It didn't get the country or region of manufacturer. So it didn't get that, but it got like pretty much everything else, right? So it works pretty good. And so, like I said, you just have to make sure that you go and make the changes you want with regards to your shipping, with regards to your policies, and with regards to your SKU. You got to put that in manually. Now, this, like I said, this is just the first draft. Literally, I've only been testing it for 2 days. So, there will be more changes coming to it. And we do need your help to make it a success with all those categories that I am not, super proficient in. So let's see what it did here it's not quite done with Mercari categories. And it did get maybe it's still working on the Mercari categories. Because like I said, if it's not completely done, wait a minute and come back to it. It did get some categories in Poshmark. Let's see, I was in Mercari. So I just didn't wait long enough for the Mercari. So it did get the price. It did get the title and description. It did get the categories and the shipping, which may not be right. So you change it depending on, what the weight is. And if you need to change the shipping or who pays for shipping or the condition, do that. But it looks good to me. And then we go to see if there's any changes that need to be made in Poshmark. Would I list this on Poshmark? Yeah, it seemed to understand that these were men's athletic shoes. So there's probably a lot of people listing men's shoes on Poshmark. So let's put in the original price. Let's check that everything else is right. And got the colors, the brand, the fact that it's not new with tags. If you want to add style tags, go for it. Let's see what it did on Whatnot. Is this something that I would list on Whatnot? So it did do and we are going to shorten the product titles to 80 characters. So that's going to be changing probably by the end of the day. And also the description will change to 1,000, except for not on Whatnot. The Whatnot is going to be even shorter because they have specifications. So those will be pushed into production. Those changes to the like the how many characters it does, those are going to be done probably later today, maybe Monday. But yeah, it got a lot of the. So I'd probably go ahead and sell these. Yeah, now. I think these might be used, but I'm not sure because it's like I said, these aren't my listings. I was just looking at some of my favorite sellers and what they sell. So these might be used, or they might be, I'll just say not specified at this point. But you even got the silhouette and the colorway. I don't know, maybe does it have green? Turbo green? I don't know. But anyways, you're going to put in the MSRP, and because it wouldn't know that unless it had a price tag or something. So yeah, so that's something. I think it got quite a bit of the information. Like I said, you're doing all this without really even uploading any kind of a template at all. All you're doing is you're just simply uploading the pictures. And let's see what it did with plush, because we're trying to hit all the categories here. And if there's a category that we haven't touched on that you feel strongly about, let us know. You can reach out to us at support@treecat.io. With any questions about this, or suggestions, or if you try it and you have some whatever, just like let us know, or open up a ticket or whatever. All right, so this is a Squishmallow, and it is a plush, and I just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos. So it got the name, it got the description, it got the price. And make sure on the price, because I don't know, it seems like it prices a little bit high in my opinion. It could do just because maybe it realizes that you're going to be making offers 10 to 20%. I don't know, but check that price, check that everything got put into the right category. Toys and hobbies, stuffed animals, Warner Brothers, brand, character, size, age level, recommended age. Didn't get the year. I don't know, maybe it the pictures didn't, justify it knowing the year. I'm not sure. What else? It got the condition was new. I don't think this is, oh yes, it is a new one. Okay, so that's correct. And then you will maybe need to change your package dimensions and it's probably not 8 ounces. And then change anything that needs to be changed in your policies. Save those changes, put in your SKU if you need to, and then go ahead and list that and see if we want to put it on. Let's see, would we put it on Poshmark? Would we put it on Poshmark? Is there things that are getting listed? Yeah, so it looks like there's listing plush on Poshmark because it's understanding the categories correctly. And it's got the colors, the brand, and it didn't get the condition right. So I'm going to change that to new with tags. Yes, save those changes. If I feel like putting in style tags, I can, or if you feel like putting in style tags, you can. And then let's see what it did for whatnot. So product name, price, description. And like I said, the character limits are going to change on those very soon. And I'm thinking this probably isn't the correct shipping profile. So make sure you check to see what the actual weight is, animal and color and character and size. I doubt it's 14 inches. I'm guessing it's probably more like 7 inches. So, but I don't know. Cause like I said, this isn't my listing. I just pulled the pictures off of one of my favorite sellers. But anyways, so it's doing a really good job, without any kind of, there's no, upfront configuration. All you do is you just upload the photos. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that your photos have enough qualifying information, right? And so if it's a piece of clothing, let's see, let me do one more. I know I'm going over. I usually only do like 30 minutes, but I want to do one more that's clothing. And let's see, let me put it onto all of them. And let's see if I can find a piece of clothing that is not a bra. Okay, let's do these overalls. Okay, so we've got some key denim overalls. These look like they're maybe vintage, probably vintage or something like that. And we're going to open those up. And so it's got some measurements. So that's why I'm showing you that if you're doing clothing, you want to make sure that you have pictures with measurements. And I think it's also just a good idea to have, like a lot of people, when they take pictures, they'll put a penny by it just to show the scale, the differences in scale. So anyways, let me go ahead and generate this draft. It's going to take a second to generate it. And while I'm doing that, I'll do one more. So let's see, let's go back to inventory, main actions, and let's click, and let's get a new, let's do these Doritos, these late night jalapeno Doritos. Those look yummy. Okay. And we're going to generate, this is just 4 pictures, right? So we're going to generate that draft from just 4 pictures. No, no templates. You don't have to fill anything out. So that's pretty cool. And even when we have our bulk feature, you're not going to have to do any templates or do any pre-configuration whatsoever. So this is kind of great for the person that, it's great for everybody. It's great for people that sell one-off items. It's great for people that sell items that are all the same. So yeah, let's do a refresh, a reload to see if that got working. Men's blue denim. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I don't think it's quite done with Mercari. There we go. Let's see what it did on eBay. It got the product name. It got the description. Like I said, these are going to be shortened in the very, very near future. It got the categories. It got the item specifics. This is better than I could do myself and quicker than I could do myself. It's amazing, actually. I might add in, so you got to check it. So like, I think these are made in Mexico. Is that, did we determine where they were made? Maybe not. But if you know where, it's made, you should put that in. If you know, in the fabric wash, I would say this is like dark, right? The dark fabric wash. So I would say it's about 75% accurate, right? I would say it's a solid pattern. So, I mean, it's not handmade and it's not personalized. So we'll put those in there. And I think really it could do any season, but it wouldn't know that. It wouldn't know that just by looking. So there's like I said, there's some things you might have to fill out yourself, but it really, it saves you a lot of time, honestly. And it's probably machine washable, so we'll do that. And there's one unit, there's one quantity, and let's say, it's probably a pound, right? So new without tags, and I would probably change the weight, or, depending on how much it weighs. I'm sure it's over a pound, but and then if you accept returns, change that, and then put in your SKU. You do your SKU by hand. These things could be added, we'll do like, have a way to have the SKU on Mercari. Like you could put that SKU in there in the future. So let's see, with Mercari, got the categories, got the size. Well, it got one size for the size. Do we like one size? I don't know. You could change these if they don't work for you, but it looks like, yeah. So always review, right? Always review. Let's say, put in the original price. It got the description. It got size category custom. I would say this is a standard. And I think they didn't get the size, one size, because it was like 38 by, I think the size is like 38 by 30. So and that it actually is men's. So it did not see that it was men's, I don't think. So yeah, definitely make sure that you check this. And like I said, this is brand new. This is in, beta. So I think, I think the waist was 38. Oops, did I say 37? I meant 38. So it's been doing a pretty good job so far, right? So let's see what we think about Whatnot, if we would list it on Whatnot. Yeah, men's modern. No hazardous materials, 1 to 2 pounds, one size. You might change the size, based on what you think it is. 38 to 30, is that maybe like an extra large? Maybe that'd be considered an extra large. Pre-owned good, and then you can put whatever the MSRP is that you want. Save those changes. So there's a few little tweaks you'll need to make, and then you could, to list it, you just click the list button. No, I'm not going to list this because it's not my item. I'm just testing out these different categories. All right, so cool. It's doing a pretty good job. I've been pretty impressed. And let's see what it did with the Doritos snack items. It got the product name, it got the description, the price. Okay, so it did not get the categories right on this. So we are going to make sure that we change those things. I wonder what category you do for food. Is there any food? What is the category for food? Food, groceries. Let's see. So if it's like a brand new, be home and garden, maybe bedding, calendars, furniture, flowers, home decor. I've never sold. See, this is the thing. I've never sold food before, so I don't know what categories it would go in. I think if you're a person that knows what you're doing, this is going to be super helpful for you, because you can just be like, oh, it goes in this category. And it might not be done yet, to be honest with you. So I'm going to come back to it because it might not be done. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it's selected any of the categories yet. So I think it might be still did for Poshmark. All right, let's go back to eBay. So if it didn't select the category, wait a second and come back. Okay, so this one, we know that it didn't get the category right because it's selecting food, pet supplies. So I'll have to come back to that. But for Mercari, at other, and all other, and then for Poshmark, it selected home, kitchen, and food storage. So this one's a tough one. We're going to have to do some work on this particular category. But I think, like, so far I've been pretty impressed with it. This one for Whatnot, it got the category correct, snacks and candy. So that's pretty cool. So if you have your particular, category that you're like, hey, it didn't really work that well for me, let us know and we will work on that. So guys, I think with that being said, give this a try and let us know what you think. Reach out if you try it and there's a category that's not quite working right for you, so we can fix that. But I mean, honestly, at first blush, I've been pretty impressed with it. I've been pretty impressed with the fact that it seems to get the categories right on a lot of different, categories and a lot of different types of things. So that's pretty cool. And I'm going to keep testing this, and hope you'll give it a try as well. It's in beta. It's free to use until, and then it's, if it sells, then you pay. And if you use this, then you are, opening up all the other billable actions for free. So with that being said, guys, hope you enjoy this and it helps you out in your business and helps you get those drafts. Getting a good solid draft like that in a matter of seconds is pretty cool. And so I'm going to be, keep trying it. I'm going to keep, we'll keep working on it. And, at first blush, it's pretty darn cool. So give it a try and let us know what you think. Guys, and with that being said, I hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week. And I'm going to hopefully be able to demo the bulk upload of the photos next week. All right. So until then, guys, mahalo.